Good afternoon, everybody. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. It's 1:41 p.m. on Sunday, May 28, 2023. As you may know, that I write responses and have a group on Quora called Learning and Research for targeted individuals. And there are questions that are posed. And this one question, I didn't pose this question, somebody did. Is gang stalking a symptom of fascism? And if so, what are the signs that it is? So on May 12th, a student of political science at Louisiana State University, graduated in 1988, Roderick Duplachain, wrote this interesting response, okay? And it's very well thought out. So he says, if you are a targeted individual, TI, you are a person of interest to the government. Yes, you read that right. The government, which includes federal, state, and local law enforcement and their civilian crony contractors. And let me tell you, if you are a TI, you can't expect help from law enforcement even if you report the stalking. Let me tell you a story about an incident that happened to me. One morning, the barista assistant manager at Starbucks told me that one of my stalkers asked him to poison me. Can you imagine the terror that ran through my body at that moment? The barista pointed out the stalker to me, and an hour later we were outside smoking a cigarette together when the stalker came out and said to the barista, quote, "We white people need to stick together," unquote. Can you believe the audacity of that person? The barista assistant manager did the right thing and called the police. The police sent out a detective who took the report of the barista. The detective told me he would investigate, but you know what? I never heard from him again. The police didn't do anything to help me, even though I was being stalked and people were trying to kill me. And look at these creatures, folks. And this is a fabricated face, you can see, but this is what they look like. Stone cold psychopaths. Stone cold psychopaths. So if you're a TI, you know the feeling of being constantly watched and followed. You know the feeling of having your every move monitored and your every word analyzed. It's a form of psychological torture that can lead to anxiety, depression, and even suicide. The worst part is that the government is involved in this organized harassment. The government has put TIs on a terrorist watch list, and law enforcement, and I've been saying this for years, and law enforcement at all levels are involved in gang stalking. I'll repeat that in case you didn't hear it the first time. Law enforcement at all levels are involved in gang stalking. They use sophisticated surveillance technology to monitor TIs, including GPS tracking, hacking into personal devices, and even using drones to follow individuals. And I've seen drones here in rural Kentucky. They also use psychological tactics to harass and intimidate TIs, such as spreading rumors, making false accusations, and threatening their families and loved ones. And how about like tearing down your gate and shooting bullet holes through your no trespassing sign? And how about your neighbor's adult son trespassing the property with a firearm and shooting it in front of my property, shattering my windows, murdering my pets? But why would the government be interested in harassing and monitoring its own citizens? The answer lies in power and control. The government wants to maintain its power and control over its citizens, and they view TIs as a threat to their authority. Wah, wah, wah. I'm just going to add some of my own intellectual property. Wah, wah, wah. Oh, you poor little babies. Oh, you want power and control because, I'm a threat to your authority. Me? I'm going to be 65 years old. Oh my God, I'm probably older than your mommies. Oh, you poor little babies. I'm a threat to your authority. Why? Because I speak up to you? By harassing and intimidating TIs, the government sends a message to the rest of the population that they will not tolerate any dissent or opposition. Oh my goodness. You know what this reminds me of, folks? It reminds me of, in families, narcissistic families where is more than one child. There's usually a favorite child. There's maybe a middle child and the baby. There's always one child that gets picked on, tormented. And then there's the favorite child. And it sends a message to all the children in the family, maybe there are 5 or 6 children, that you could be next. You want to be the favorite one. You don't want to be the one that's getting beat and starved. And this does happen, folks, in real life. So gangstalking is a form of fascism. It is the manifestation of authoritarianism, nationalism, and the suppression of individual rights and freedoms. The government uses gangstalking to maintain its power and control over its citizens, and it relies on fear and intimidation to achieve its goals. Well, I'm going to tell you, folks, I'm not afraid of these losers. I'm just going to keep speaking out. So TIs are the victims, are this fascist regime, and we must stand together to fight against it. If you're a TI, it's essential to take steps to protect yourself, and here are some tips that may help. Be aware of your surroundings and pay attention to any suspicious activity. Well, what about if the people are cloaked on your acreage? What if they're cloaked? They're wearing cloaking devices and they're hiding out behind your buildings. Document any incidences of stalking or harassment. Include dates, times, and locations. Check mark for me, folks. Install security cameras and alarm systems at your home and office. I do have alarms on all of my windows, folks. Open up a window, a bell's going to go off. If you can open the window, because most of them are screwed shut. Use encryption software to protect your online activity and communications. Now, I am not real good at that. Reach out to support groups and advocacy organizations for TIs. Well, we all know how that works, folks. In conclusion, gangstalking is a form of fascism. It's happening under our noses. If you are a TI, you know the feeling of being constantly watched and followed. The government is involved in this organized harassment, and law enforcement at all levels are complicit in this fascist regime. We must stand together to fight against this form of oppression and protect our individual rights and freedoms. We're going to upvote that, and we're going to save this. We're going to bookmark it. And then I will copy the link for you to go straight to this article. But that's it for now, folks. It is raining here in eastern Kentucky. It's a little bit cooler. It's been raining all day. And I wanted to tell you that they drained my water catchment that waters my garden. Not once, but twice. So a couple of days ago, it was filled to the top, and I had not used it. Yesterday, it was empty. Empty. So it was drained. It was stolen. We had all this rain overnight, and that barrel should be at least half full. I go over to it, it's empty again. Just a little trickle coming out. So the criminals are on the property 24/7, stealing, vandalizing, all with the help of our local sheriff's department, our local county prosecutor, all the go along to get along fascist Stasi losers. And you know what? What does it say up here? It says, I'm a person of interest to the government. Oh yeah, you heard that right. The government includes federal, state, and local law enforcement and their civilian crony contractors. You know, like the fusion centers, the local private detectives, the retired law enforcement, like our previous sheriff retired and now he's a detective. These people can never retire. They don't retire because they are addicted to chaos. They are addicted to power. They are addicted to control, and they are addicted to the money. They can't even retire peacefully without going into another business. They're collecting a government pension, have stolen hundreds of thousands of dollars from people their entire careers. They can't even retire without going into another addictive, stalking, harassment program. And yes, it is fascism. It is Stasi Nazi tactics. They use Zersetzung, which is decomposition. They like to deteriorate. Anything that begins with D, deteriorate. Decomposition, destroy, death. They are filthy to the core, and many of them are involved in a cult, C-U-L-T, a satanic cult, a Luciferian cult. And some of these Luciferian cults go under another name that begins with the letter F and ends with the letter N. And under the IRS nonprofit designation, they are considered to be a lodge, L-O-D-G-E, and they collect membership fees from all of their members. And I discussed this on another video. These people are despicable. When I moved here to Kentucky, I will tell you for a fact that one of these creatures with his alleged brother pulled into my driveway and parked there at the bottom of the hill. I was sleeping in my car at the top of the hill, as you remember. So I go down there, smile on my face, greet this person, thinking I'm getting a welcome or whatever. The guy was evil to the core. His brother appeared to be somewhat demented or dim, or what's the word? He was not retarded. It seemed as if this may have happened to him over time. But he was not completely lucid, and he was smiley and whatever. But this other creature driving the car actually had the audacity to give me his full name, likely of the misguided belief that I wouldn't remember what it was. His name was Ken. I will only use his first name here. But I guarantee he was a Luciferian Satanist Freemason. I guarantee it. He had the audacity to say, "Why did you approach my car?" I said, "You're on my driveway. You pulled into my driveway." And he's not even he can't even look at me in the eye. He's looking around me. He's looking past my eyes. And this guy was evil. Evil. We have a very brief conversation. You could tell that he had an agenda. He was checking me out. He was feeling me out. He introduces his brother. Said his brother retired from some government agency. I don't know. I don't remember that. But I do remember his name. And I gave that man's name to the county prosecutor, Ross Murray, who laughed and giggled at it. He had the audacity to say to his secretary, "Oh, is there a Freemason lodge around here?" While I was sitting in his office playing dumb. That's right down the block here. Playing dumb with a smirky grin on his face. I've got your number, you pieces of crap. And then another time, another set of these men, you know, the brother with the brother, pull up when I'm expecting a repair delivery. Same nonsense. The guy has the audacity to lead me to believe that he knew the former owner. And then he says, "Oh, well, Oh, God bless his soul. And when you hear these losers say stuff like that, they're so hypocritical. But he said something to lead me to believe that he didn't even know who the former owner was. He was just here to check me out. But that's okay, folks. I know who you are. I've got a pretty good memory, even with the targeting. And yes, I do remember your full name, Ken. Yes, it's also in the telephone book, by the way. So please don't ever show up at my property again. You were trespassing then. You'll be trespassing the next time. That's 2 times. And I don't give a shit. You stay off my property. So anyway, here you go, folks. Is gangstalking a symptom of fascism? And if so, what are the signs that it is? The government has a keen interest in you. I am a person of interest. I wonder why. I know why. I know why they're interested in me. Because I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid to speak out. I'm confident in my abilities. I was very successful in everything I did. And besides the fact that before all my targeting, I looked pretty damn good. I probably looked the best of my entire life at the age of 55 years old. And it's not just me, it was an entire family of women that always looked younger. We were healthy. In fact, I was probably the healthiest female in my family. Don't smoke, drink, do drugs, eat organic food, exercised, unlike many of the women in my family. But yeah, so I'm a person of interest. I know why you're interested. You're interested in asset stripping me because I was a successful woman. Because I've actually won lawsuits also. That's why I'm a threat to you. I'm a threat to you because I'm smarter than the average bear. No, I'm actually smarter than the average police officer. And I know the law. I guess that makes me really, really dangerous. So this is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading. Welcome to Stasi America, where our government, local law enforcement, get off. They jerk off on harassing 65-year-old women. Happy Memorial Day, folks. The people that defended this country, defended the Constitution, are rolling around in their graves at what has become of these law enforcement criminals. The people that defended this country fought for our freedoms. They risked their lives. They risked their families' lives. They traveled all over the country, all over the world, to defend our freedoms. And what do? Some of them are homeless now, sleeping on the street, while these criminals are stalking innocent people for profit. I hope you all rot in hell. That's where you belong, you hypocrites. And there is somebody watching over me and all the good people and all the real targeted people and all those homeless veterans because of you creeps double dipping, stealing for profit, harassing people for profit. Well, I hope you feel real good about yourselves. Go back and tell your mommy and your daddy, your grandparents, what upstanding American citizens you are. How you violate your oath of office. How pathetic. That's my message for Memorial Day weekend. please hit the like button. I guarantee this video will be downvoted. This is Lorraine Alternative Homesteading signing off for now.